This is really bad.
A slippery slope in Seattle. Heavy rain leads to a landslide and an apartment building on edge.
If this fall down, I'm afraid it's going to be like domino effect.
We're in a situation where the federal government is stepping in with some pretty dramatic changes in the way funding is distributed.
And those changes could affect housing in Seattle, why city leaders warn it could force thousands back on the streets. 3 Seattle parks that shut down in September.
Nobody really knows what to do, and it just, I feel really helpless.
Will stay fenced off. Neighbors say they want the parks reopened, but not at the cost of their safety.
He is on our boat.
A dramatic escape in the Salish Sea.
Once that seal was on the boat, I kind of turned team sealed.
A seal frantically uses a boat to escape a pod of orcas and gets a ride to safety. It always rains in Seattle, right? Seattle certainly fit that stereotype today. We are wrapping up a very rainy day in western Washington. That wet weather created quite a mess out on the roads. Take a look at some of the standing water here on Aurora Avenue, the bridge this morning. One of the several places really that the WashDOT reported ponding. The agency warned drivers just to take it slow. The almost non-stop showers also helped set the stage for something a little more serious in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. A section of hillside gave way, carving out the ground beneath a patio and a sidewalk, and that left neighbors worried about what might come next. This is King 5 News at 11. I'm Greg Copeland. We'll take a closer look at the next steps for these residents in just 60 seconds. But we're going to begin with Perella Lewis for a look at all the rainfall that lies ahead for us this weekend.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see more in the forecast. I will say the good news is that the highest rain amounts has already fallen, so at least that is behind us. That's good news because our soils, our grounds need some time now to absorb all of this. That's part of the problem. We're getting some runoff and even some landslides today. As we take a look, here's our satellite radar picking up on a little bit of rain on the coast and a lot in the mountains. And of course, as it's in the mountains, it finds its way right down to area rivers. So as we take a look, the Skokomish River is at action stage again tonight, and it will be through tomorrow, but also several more rivers. I've just highlighted a few here, but if you live in and around the Cascade Mountains, just be aware minor flooding could be coming soon. A lot more details on your weekend coming up.
All right, back to that. Let's see a landslide now. A Queen Anne apartment building is yellow tagged tonight, meaning residents can stay but aren't allowed in some areas. Sound Transit confirms this is the area where the new Ballard light rail extension could go, and the slope stability is now being studied.
Unless they do some really substantial kind of, retaining wall thing, they shouldn't do any more building for sure. They shouldn't be running a link for the rapid transit, the light rail underneath this. I mean, look, it would not be safe for sure.
Inspectors say they don't know yet exactly what triggered that slide. By the way, part of the North Cascades Highway is closed because of winter weather. SR 20 closed between the Ross Lake Dam and Silver Star. It's about a 40-mile stretch. Right now, there's a chance that it could stay closed for the season. We'll keep you posted. The government shutdown may be over, but we are seeing the lingering impact across the U.S. from our airports to hospitals to housing. Let's start there. This week, the Trump administration sent concerning notices to housing officials across western Washington that the fed's plan to cut permanent housing funding is moving forward. The government shutdown postponed that initiative that critics fear could push tens of thousands of people back into homelessness. King 5's Madeline Carter joins us now in studio to break down what this change could mean here at home. Madeline.
Well, Greg, it all comes down to what's called the Continuum of Care program. It's a 31-year-old federal initiative to help people who are chronically homeless or disabled. A new Trump administration policy drastically cuts its funding for permanent housing. And here in Seattle, leaders are worried.
Unit 218 at Stevens Place in Queen Anne.
We have induction stovetop.
Will soon be home sweet home for someone
and pretty amazing views
who doesn't have one.
As somebody with my own lived experience with homelessness, just the ability to have some privacy.
But the Puget Sound Regional Council believes permanent housing solutions like this for King County's homeless population are now at risk.
Now that the government shutdown is over, we're seeing the administration move forward with dramatic changes that are going to have profound impacts.
The Trump administration is cutting Continuum of Care funding that supports permanent housing from 87% down to 30% across the country. And Seattle will feel it. Federal funding currently totals to about $20 million a year.
A real blow to our region.
Instead, the feds will redirect that money toward temporary transitional housing that requires the tenant to have a job and get addiction treatment. Daniel Malone says it simply will not work for the people he serves, many battling psychiatric conditions and substance abuse.
People often need long-term support to help them manage those conditions.
Here at Stevens Place, residents get treatment and a brand new place to call home. But with the permanent housing cuts, Daniel fears those same people could end up back on the streets.
So if these funds go away and we lose the ability to cover the rent payments, then those folks likely will be evicted.
Now this cut, it won't happen all at once on January 1st. The current funding, it will wind down over the course of this next year.
The people we're talking about are some of the, obviously the most vulnerable. Yeah. The question for them is, what happens next and what are housing leaders supposed to do?
Yeah, honestly, that's what they're grappling with right now. They want to keep permanent housing going, but it's now up to state and local leaders to find the money for it. And that's what they're racing around the clock to do. They're not quite sure where that's going to come from.
We know how tricky that's been lately, so
yeah.
All right, keep us posted. Although the shutdown is over, the congressional battle over health care is not. Democrats still want to extend existing federal subsidies for some Affordable Care Act insurance plans. Senate Republicans already agreed to hold a separate vote on this, but House Republican lawmakers have not committed yet.
Am I going to guarantee a vote on ACA unreformed COVID-era subsidies that is just a boondoggle to insurance companies and robs the taxpayer? We got a lot of work to do on that.
The Affordable Care Act tax credits are scheduled to lapse on December 31st. And so we have about 45 days to get this done.
More than 24 million Americans rely on the Affordable Care Act marketplaces for health insurance. Without congressional action, some households will see a spike in their premiums after December 31st. The Department of Transportation is easing flight cuts this weekend. Starting tomorrow, airlines can operate 97% of flights at 40 major airports. The FAA will monitor the system through the weekend and then decide when normal operations can resume. Today, there were 40 cancellations at SeaTac Airport, 179 delays. They have documents, they have witnesses, and they have evidence. So why aren't state regulators doing more to protect vulnerable clients? Chris Ingalls asked that question in his ongoing series, Sobriety for Sale.
A big part of our job in the King 5 Investigators Unit is accountability, especially when it comes to the government and regulators. But before we talk about that, let's fill you in. We reported that Judy Russo, who operates a barbershop in Enumclaw, just filed a lawsuit in the overdose death of her son. It claims untrained and unqualified staff at Rainier Recovery Centers failed to treat her son and falsified records. She learned about this from a King 5 investigation of the now shuttered treatment center in April.
They don't have any right to play Russian roulette with people's lives.
We reported on state records alleging the treatment center's owner, Jeremiah Dunlap, was corrupt and on his connection to a Pierce County lawyer. State investigators said they had a deal that put profits over their clients. Now, the State Department of Health did force the owner to sell his treatment clinics, but it didn't take away his substance abuse counseling license. Even after all these violations and previous violations, he still has that important license. We asked why, and the Department of Health told me it does not comment on ongoing cases. But there's evidence the former owner is out there trying to open a new clinic. We were investigating that, and so apparently was DOH. They denied the application.
That looks kind of like what he's doing. He's just out for the money, period. And then if you got by with opening one, well then here, let's go get another one. Let's open another one.
Then, secondly, there's been no apparent action against the lawyer by the Washington Bar Association. We've reported that she was doing the same kind of thing 10 years ago. No action was taken then, and we don't see any evidence of action now. Previously, both the lawyer and the owner have denied any wrongdoing. Accountability. And when it comes to the Washington Bar and the Washington State Department of Health, we have lots of questions. I'm Chris Ingalls in the King 5 newsroom.
A 51-year-old man is now charged with first-degree murder after a deadly stabbing inside a Seattle group home. This happened last Saturday in the Green Lake neighborhood. Charging documents show that Michael Perdue attacked one of his roommates, 83-year-old William Wallace, after making threats earlier in the day. Perdue refused to surrender, and that prompted a 4-hour standoff. He is due in court on Tuesday. A man suspected of killing his Everett landlord is now charged with second-degree murder. David Lee Kraft remains in the Snohomish County Jail tonight. Court documents say Daniel Litton was working at a home earlier this month when he disappeared. A day later, his body was found in an alley wrapped in layers of fabric, tape, and metal wire. An autopsy revealed Litton was stabbed in the neck multiple times. Kraft is due in court on Wednesday.
Every person has value and dignity, and no life should be unjustly taken in that manner. And so it's unfortunate to hear that happening, especially to two teenage boys.
Lacey police need help finding out who killed two teen brothers in a drive-by shooting. The county coroner says the brothers, 16 and 17, lived in Lacey and the nearby town of Rainier. Officers say the shooting happened around 2 in the morning on College Street, one of Lacey's busiest roads. Detectives say it's not clear whether the teens knew the shooter. People in 3 Seattle neighborhoods want their parks back, but not at the expense of safety. And facing that catch-22, the city extended the closure of the parks, which neighbors say were overrun with encampments and drug use. These are the parks: Lake City, Mini Park, Blanche Laviso Park, and Seven Hills Park. King 5's Jim Nelson is on Capitol Hill, where the uncertainty of the parks hangs in the balance.
This park is one of 3 in Seattle under the spotlight.
We had a couple people shooting up right outside our bedroom window.
Temporarily closed in September due to what the city called negative activity.
My car got broken into last week.
It's still happening. They say the trouble simply moved down the block.
Ginger's a little depressed because of the rain, but also because she can't run around in the park.
Nobody really knows what to do, and it just, I feel really helpless, and I really don't think anybody's going to change anything.
Snapshots before the closure show an encampment at the park.
There were needles. We had a 8 or 10 foot chain spun around and we're threatened with that.
Seattle Parks and Rec is considering more lighting, gardens, and additional security fencing.
Right now, it feels like we can at least walk outside our door without the fear of being threatened by someone who's sleeping in our backyard.
I was forced to be in that situation in 2024.
Dwayne tells me he's off the streets now, but he gets it. He says those who camped here weren't bad people.
Well, not all of them. Like I say, some people has learned how to navigate under the stars, and they choose to be out here. You know, there's some people that are down on their luck. Some people are going through changes, and they found camaraderie with each other. And how it works is they find a spot and they stay.
He wants the fences torn down.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fence here, but the neighborhood still doesn't feel that safe.
People like Kate and Will agree, but for different reasons, and only if the city addresses the deeper issue of crime, homelessness, and addiction.
Yeah, it's just, it's a bummer.
For now, the fences will stay. The parks closed through December, leaving some feeling imprisoned in their own backyard.
The city wants to engage with the community, so they've set up meetings over the next week to talk about the steps moving forward. They're scheduled for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll have all of that information at king5.com. In Seattle, Jim Nelson, King 5 News.
A dramatic escape in the Sailor Sea. We show you the moment a terrified seal pup leaps onto a boat to escape a hungry pod of orcas. Win or go home. The high school football playoffs are here. Highlights from this week's big game still ahead in sports.
Well, the weekend is here and more rain is coming, but it will not be as much as what we just saw. In fact, we'll take a look at what you can expect. And next week, too, it's all when we come back.